So as I was saying a second ago, so you decided to produce. You're a producer on this. You're one of the actors, and you co-wrote it.
Yeah.
Was there anything you could have done that you didn't do?
Catering, but there would be a lot of dead bodies on my watch, you know. I think, you know, I was more of a backseat producer. I'm not like PGA on this thing because it was more about, it was my idea to get it going. It was to bring David in to kind of get this thing going and pitch the whole thing and then get the team together. And then once the pre-production started, I was in post for Boy Erased. So I started to get very hands-off at that point and then just eat a lot of burritos to get ready for the shoot and grow my beard.
Right, so it's basically a great pre-production for you.
Yeah. Double breakfast, double lunch, double dinner.
Right, that sounds amazing. One of the things, this movie, first of all, congrats on the movie.
Thank you.
I really dug this film. One of the things that, it has a big action set piece in the third act. Mm-hmm. And a lot of these films always have the leader giving a speech to their troops. I'm curious about writing that speech because you're sort of, you know what I mean? There's you have all these different films that have that speech, and I'm just curious, what was it like writing that, and did you put a lot of added pressure on that speech?
Yeah, it was almost like the pressure that was there about the pre-battle speech actually took the pressure off. To kind of not to feel like we had to reach for something just, you know, we had chosen not to use a single word of Shakespeare, even though the launching pad was my love of those three plays and having done them. And you can't compete with Crispin's Day. You know, it's a Crispin's Day speech to inspire the troops. And, you know, in a way, what's there is something very kind of improvised and messy. And I always think those speeches, I always think in the days before microphones, how did everyone even hear the speech? Like, you know, what was he saying? What did he say? You know, and I think there's a certain uncertainty to the way Timmy launches into that so he leans in so hard to it, but there's a big underbelly of uncertainty. And as I say to him the night before, if you can't find a reason to inspire these people, then lie to them. You know.
Sure, that's good advice.
Yeah.
Before filming began, you look at the schedule, you look at everything you have to do. Is there a day or two that you're like, this is going to be a real challenge?
Look, the whole thing, except I remember saying to David at one point during the 3 weeks we shot the Battle of Agincourt, 2.5 weeks, I was like, God, I'm glad I'm not directing this thing. I just remember thinking for the first time the difference between writing at a table on your computer, because we bit off different chunks of the story and wrote and then shared homework. This is how the process of writing worked. And I remember thinking when we were on set, I was like, wow, I wrote David and he wrote himself into a situation where he had to control hundreds of people in armour on a battlefield. And I was like, how is he keeping this all together? Like, I just remember thinking, I'm not made of this stuff yet, maybe, or maybe never, to direct a movie of this nature.
Completely. I am really looking forward to Barry Jenkins' Underground Railroad. Yeah. And I know you're playing someone not so good.
Yes.
What can you tease about the character and the project?
Well, look, what Barry's doing is kind of epic. I mean, it's a journey of one girl who escapes and is trying to move north to freedom, and I'm on her tail. But it's the character that I play and the relationship that I have with Tusa, who's playing Cora, is far more complicated than just out and out sort of abusive white man hates black person relationship. It's far more complex, and Barry is pulling out more than just sort of skeleton. He's like going into the sinews and details of relationships in a way that on one hand it's magic realism. On the other hand, it's a real kind of history lesson as well, but it's a very human journey.